Ah, hello there. Me again. It is a peculiar thing how a role can linger, not as a costume to be shed, but as an old guest, sitting quietly within the chambers of your mind and sharing a story now and again. Sometimes it is the most fleeting of moments, the details you might miss in the blink of an eye, that hold the greatest and most profound truths. There was such a moment when I, as Gandalf, was held captive, trapped atop the merciless pinnacle of Orthanc, a spire of obsidian malice, imprisoned there by my oldest friend, Saruman. From that terrible height, I could see the world stretching out below, the distant, silent mountains, the ancient forests sinking into shadow, the tiny, hopeful lights of far-off farmhouses. I could see everything, and yet I was utterly, completely powerless. A great wizard, captive to a greater one. Power had met its equal, and I had been found wanting. It was a place of utter despair. There was no conceivable escape, only the cold, unyielding stone, the howling, biting wind, and the endless, dizzying void below. It would have been so easy to surrender to the thought that it was all over, that hope was a luxury I could no longer afford in such a desolate place. And then, in the deepest dark of the night, a visitor arrived. It was not a warrior in shining armor, nor a king with a host at his back. It was a moth, a tiny, fragile, dusty thing, fluttering almost aimlessly in the vast, oppressive dark. It had been drawn, it seemed, to the only small light on that entire peak, the faint, warm glow from my pipe. It circled me, its paper-thin wings seeming far too frail for the brutal, relentless winds at that height. Anyone else, anyone lost in the depths of their own self-pity, might have waved it away, a trivial annoyance in their grand suffering. But in that singular moment, I looked at the moth and I did not see weakness. I saw a messenger. I saw a possibility. Something small and alive had found its way to the loneliest place in the world. It knew nothing of the brewing war, of powerful rings, or the treachery of wizards. It was simply following the light. And in that, I understood a profound truth. Hope does not always need to be a roar that shakes the mountains. Sometimes hope is a whisper in the dark. And so I leaned in and I whispered to that tiny, unsuspecting creature. I did not issue a command. I sent a plea, a prayer on the wind. I placed all my remaining hope upon its fragile, dusty wings and trusted it to the night. I asked it to carry my message, to ride the currents of the air, and to find help. A seemingly foolish act, wasn't it? A fool's desperate gamble. But you see, the world is not run by great and terrible powers alone. It is also woven from the delicate, intricate threads of the unforeseen. Help does not always come from the direction you expect, heralded by trumpets. Sometimes it arrives in the form of a small, dusty creature, drawn to a tiny, flickering light in the overwhelming darkness. The lesson, I suppose, is quite simple. Even when you are trapped on the highest peak of your own despair, in the coldest and most desolate of nights. Never, ever underestimate the power of a small light, and never dismiss the smallest of messengers, because sometimes your salvation may just depend on a whisper sent on the wings of a moth. Keep faith and keep an eye out for the little things. They often carry the most important messages of all. Please subscribe to my channel.